Welcome to another episode of 9to5Mac Weekly, where hopefully we can find something to talk about other than the flu. I am your host, Miles Somerville. Let's dive right in. In our first story, it looks like Apple might have more up their sleeve than we originally thought. This news came out a little while ago, but I still wanted to cover it. With the huge big iOS 14 code leak that went down last week here at 9to5, we learned about a bunch of upcoming products from Apple, but probably the most interesting was a leak of a supposed iPhone 9 Plus. It looks like this iPhone 9 should sport the same Touch ID design and internals as the iPhone 9. The only difference is that it will sport a 5.5-inch display according to evidence found in the code. I personally think it's pretty smart that they're including a larger screen option for their budget line of phones, because there are still plenty of people like myself who might not want to spend $700+ but still want, that larger size screen. I think Apple probably saw what Google did with the Pixel 3a and 3a XL and are probably trying to emulate that formula. But shifting gears to the higher end line of Apple's mobile hardware, it looks like Apple's going to be going big with the 2020 flagship iPhone. According to new reports from my guy Ming-Ching Kuo, the 6.7-inch new iPhone will have a new camera module for the wide-angle lens, and it'll supposedly be called the 7P. It'll have a 1/1.9-inch sensor as opposed to the current 1/3.6-inch sensor found in the current 11 Pro, and the camera will apparently have sensor shift tech as well. I'm personally really hyped for what Apple can do with a larger camera sensor. I think they're going to make a big play at Google for having the best low-light smartphone camera, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see, but I guess we'll find out later this year. Hopefully. I thought this was pretty interesting to see, but also not very surprising. Geekbench benchmarks for the 2020 MacBook Air show that it isn't as fast as an almost 2-year-old tablet. Testing done by 6 Colors on Geekbench is showing us that the mid-range MacBook Air for $1299 is being outperformed by an $800 iPad Pro. And I think everyone knows how powerful the iPad Pro is, but it almost doesn't really make a difference if, it's going to be running iPad OS. Mac OS is always going to be a more capable OS than iPad OS, at least as of now. So until they have Final Cut Pro on the iPad Pro, it won't make a difference how good the benchmarks are compared to Apple's Mac lineup. But seriously, I hope one day Apple can kind of up the ante on iPad OS, or just throw Final Cut Pro on it, so I can start using an iPad Pro and have an $800 tablet that's more powerful than a $1,300 MacBook Air. That would be pretty sweet. But I think overall, every device has its place. The MacBook Air definitely has plenty of drawbacks compared to an iPad Pro, and vice versa. It kind of just depends on what you need to do with it. But nevertheless, it is impressive to see that this $800 tablet is outperforming a $1,200 MacBook Air. So, it's Desk Flex time. I didn't do one last week just because I wanted to focus solely on the new Apple hardware announcements, but we got some for this week. We're just going to play one. This one's from Luai, so let's check it out.
Dramatic entrance. What's up, 9to5Mac? Sorry, I didn't mean to slam the door, but here's my Mac submission. I got the 16-inch MacBook Pro with the nice keyboard. This is the base model, so the i7 512 gig. That's really all I needed. Mostly I use it for school purposes. I've been wanting to get into video editing, so that was kind of one of the reasons why I went for this upgrade. Switch from Windows to Mac, best switch ever in my life. Got the Magic Mouse that I bought used. Honestly, I think this is just, it looks like the first gen, because this one's a battery powered. And then the second gen Magic Keyboard, it is chargeable. Got my external monitor with Tanjiro from Demon Slayer, really good anime. I'm an anime fan. Got my camera that never really used and kept saying I will, but my phone's pretty much better than it right now. I got the iPhone XS Max. Miles, if you don't mind blurring that part. I got my charging dock. I do have AirPods, just don't know where they are right now, so ignore that. Lightning, wireless charging. Then we got an Apple Watch here. Don't ask me what model. You don't want to know, but I will be upgrading. I got the Solo Pros chilling over here that I never really use because they're just not comfortable for me, but they do have great audio, noise cancellation, and transparency mode on these new ones. And then I got like the Studio 2s just chilling over here. But yeah, that's my setup. Just to give you a quick look around of my entire office. If you were wondering, that's just my Windows gaming side, and then that's my more like productivity side with the Mac computer and stuff. Yeah, and I got my couch over there. It's not that comfortable, but it's a couch. But yep, that's my submission.
Wow, nice stuff. Overall, the entire office looks really great, regardless of the Mac setup. The PC setup looks really cool too, but that 16-inch MacBook Pro, man, it is such a clean laptop. I've been debating whether I should, get one to keep or not, but I just don't need it. But really cool to see that you've got one, and a bunch of other really Apple-specific accessories. Overall, it's a really clean setup. I don't really have any suggestions. The cable management looks great. It's a really nice setup. Thanks for submitting. And if you want to submit to 9to5 Desk Flex, just follow the links in the description and you can showcase your Mac setup to be featured on the channel. We've already talked about on the show how we're supposed to be seeing ARM-based Macs sometime next year. Well, a new report from our guy Quo says that Apple switching to the ARM-based platform will decrease CPU component costs by nearly 40 to 60%. And while that's great, looking at it at face value, Apple's going to have to figure things out as far as outsourcing to other manufacturers, because a lot of their components, like their USB controllers, are mostly Intel-based tech. But Quo hints at a dramatic sales increase in the next few years with the expected price drops for Mac hardware using the ARM platform. Overall, this is something to get excited about for sure, because we should definitely start seeing Macs coming down in price, but there are definitely a lot of logistical things I'm personally curious about, like how Apple's going to maintain the Thunderbolt platform, because that's, for the most part, a technology developed by Intel in partnership with Apple. But I guess we'll see sometime next year. I'm sure Apple will figure it out. So that's going to be about it for this episode in terms of news, but I did want to touch base on a few things. Firstly, I don't want this show to become 9to5 COVID, so I'd honestly just avoid making news videos at all if it's only going to be stuff that's related to the virus. And secondly, I wanted to give a few tips on things that I'm doing that I want to share with you all to maybe inspire you guys for activities to do at home while in quarantine. Firstly, for all of my video professionals out there, take some time to start practicing some new skills. Like, for example, something I'm doing, I've got After Effects for my new custom-built PC, and I'm gonna try to dip my feet more into VFX and things of that nature. I'm also doing things like downloading stock footage and practicing color grading techniques in DaVinci Resolve. Things like that will definitely help the time go by. I've also started gaming a bit more. This is not a sponsored shout out by any means, but I found this site called G2A, and they've got a lot of digital games for really good prices. I got Minecraft Windows 10 edition for like $5, Batman Arkham Knight Premium edition for like $6. Things like this will definitely be good to get into if you've been trying to game a little bit more but haven't had the time. Lastly, there are so many movies to watch and too many streaming platforms to watch them on, so make a list of the movies that you haven't ever gotten around to watching and just binge to your heart's content. All of these things will definitely help the days go by and help you lose your mind a little bit less. But that's, for the most part, pretty much it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more videos in the future. Thanks for watching. Please stay inside if possible, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.